Welcome to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside the KDKA studios for today's Extra Point. And not much in terms of an exclamation point here. The Steelers, again, failed to score more than 10 points. First half yields nothing but a field goal. Could have been two, should have been two, but the referees interfered with that. Welcome to our program. Bob Pompeani along with Hoke Bros 76, Chris Hoke. And the Steelers go down with another bad performance offensively. I look at this, and again, it's a bottom line business, Chris. You got to score more than 10 points. If you don't do that, you're going to lose most every single week. When they score more than 20, they win. When they don't, they lose, and it's become too much of a recurrence in the first half, and specifically the first quarter, where the Steelers now have 20 possessions, 14 have been 3 and out, and that's exactly what we saw today. That's
exactly what we saw today, but I look at this, Bob. They're close. They come out in that first drive of the game, 2 nice balls thrown by Kenny Pickett right on the hands of Deontay Johnson, and he drops those balls. Okay, it's raining. Gloves are soaked. I don't know what it is. He brings those balls in. They're moving the ball down the field. It could be a different game, but that's how they've been starting. It's either Kenny or it's a receiver, or they're not getting protection by the offensive line. It's one thing after another that stalls them in these drives and doesn't allow them to move the chains and go get some points early.
And there was another play in the end zone where Deontay Johnson was wide open, and Pickett was just late in getting it there, and he threw behind him. That would have been a touchdown as opposed to settling for 3 points in that. There were a lot of things we're going to talk about, but leading the way is, of course, injuries. We have a lot of injuries to talk about. Mike Tomlin will be up here shortly. You're going to hear what they are, and probably not specific until he meets with the media tomorrow as they get ready for a short week in Tennessee. But when you lose Minkah Fitzpatrick, clearly there's a lot going on there. And the one touchdown by Travis Etienne where he came out, I'm not smart enough to understand where this goes. Yeah. Joey Porter or who was it? Keanu Neal or KZ? One of the two of them.
It was KZ.
KZ came in and he looked like he went to a point where he shouldn't have gone. Was it more of a safety issue?
Well, it looked like a cover 2 coverage, right? So he should have been deep half and should have, Joey Porter Jr. should have played underneath, squatting underneath the receiver. But it seemed to me a veteran safety coming in at such a bad angle. Don't know what that coverage is yet, but Joey sat down a little bit, so there's a little confusion on who did what and who was supposed to do what. But at the end of the day, a 56-yard touchdown pass to Etienne that went, and Joey tried to run him down. He couldn't. That was a backbreaker for the Steelers, because then he ran that sweep play untouched to get 2-point conversion to make it a two-score game.
Yeah, Etienne has been terrific in the last several games. Their whole offense is explosive if you give them some time, and their defense certainly did a pretty good job when it comes to turnovers, although the Steelers win the turnover battle. When that normally happens, they normally win games. Today, not so much.
And 2 of them, took away scores, right? They were in the end zone, in the red zone there. Great hit by Cole Holcomb. Quan Alexander recovered by Cole Holcomb on Evan, the tight end, on that shovel pass. And then, what an interception by KZ. He should have stayed in the end zone so the Steelers can get the ball out on the 20-yard, 25-yard line, but brought it out to the 4. But still, 2 takeaways to prevent scores. You usually win a ball game when that happens, Bob.
Yeah, and also, of course, a big injury to Kenny Pickett. Whether or not he'll be returning on a short week, we don't know. However, I know you've been touting Mason Rudolph a lot. After what we saw today, you wonder if that would be, if he can't go, who will be the quarterback on Thursday? We'll debate that. We have a lot of stuff coming up for you, including post-game reaction. Rich Walsh is over there in the locker room, Mike Tomlin, all coming up as we continue live. This is your Neighborhood Ford Store Extra Point on KDKA Plus, following a Steeler loss to Jacksonville. 20-10, drops them to 4-3 overall.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point.
Welcome back, everyone. On a gloomy day, turned out to be a gloomy result for the Steelers as they drop one at home. First of 3 in a row at home. Thought they could make some moves here, but they got off to a slow start. It was 9-3 at halftime. That was it. 3 points taken off the board with a questionable call by the officials, who did not have a good day. 20-10, your final score. And of course, one of the big plays in this was an injury to Kenny Pickett. There were 2 roughing the passer calls, the first of which really made me think the second one should have been called also. Sure. It was Keanu Neal who came in and he hit Trevor Lawrence. Looked like a form tackle to me. You're a big defensive player. Yeah. Come on. What does a guy have to do? That was a 29-yard completion, add 15 more on top of it.
When that was called, I was thinking that's a textbook call, right? They're trying to get away from, eliminate this from the game, driving a quarterback into the ground.
He didn't drive him into the ground. He made a play.
You can say whatever you want. He drove him into the ground.
No, he didn't.
Per the definition of what the NFL started to call. But no, let me finish.
Okay.
But what happened was when they came back, you see right here. But when you come back and you couple that with what happened to Kenny Pickett, and you had Adam Gotsis, who hit him and drove him into the ground, big old defensive lineman, you're thinking, okay, isn't there equal application of this rule? Because you call it on Keanu Neal, but then you do not call it against Kenny Pickett. And when he gets driven into the ground by Gotsis, I just think if you're going to call it, call it. If you're not, don't.
Right.
And that's what the problem is here. But I think the call that was on Keanu Neal, that is a point of emphasis for the NFL. I hate it because I'm a defensive lineman. I don't like it because that's football. But they've been calling that across the board.
But what are you supposed to do in that situation? Just answer that question. Like, if you're him, you come in, you're bearing down. He still has the ball in his hand.
I'm not
He doesn't hit him in the head. He doesn't hit him in the knees. He hits him right where you're supposed to hit him.
It's very difficult to play in the NFL right now as a defensive player.
They're making it more difficult.
And they don't understand. You're coming around and you're hitting guy in a blitz and you're running full speed and you're supposed to adjust the way you're supposed to hit this guy. It's very, very difficult. What they want you to do is hit the quarterback and roll to the side. To me, you're going to miss a lot of sacks that way, but that's what they want. But you see what happens. What happens is you go in there and you drive a guy to the ground, and what happens is Kenny Pickett gets hurt, and he has the ribs. Who knows how bad that's going to be, how much time he's going to miss. What they're trying to get from, Bob, is they don't want their quarterbacks out of the game. This is a quarterback-driven league. They're trying to protect those guys.
Well, they may as well just give him a flag and say don't touch him, just like they do. I mean, it's getting to that point.
They're starting to do that. They're starting to do that.
I mean, that's the way it's going to go. But equal application, as you said, is the key there. If you're going to call that against Neal, then you need to call it 100%. Against Gotsis. There's no other way around that. It was the same exact thing, only worse, I thought, in Pickett's situation. All right, so he goes down with and here is the play. You know, he's trying to make a play. He threw the ball. He gets nailed. He's down. He has a rib injury. He tried to come back. But you know how rib injuries are. They can be really difficult to try to maneuver against.
Especially to your side of your throwing arm, right? And the reality is this could be bad because he was just starting to play well, getting in his groove at the end of that second quarter.
All right, Mike Tomlin at the podium. Let's hear what he has to say after that loss.
Victory. Thought we were closing the distance in the second half. Had a miscommunication and gave up a long score. We turned the ball over on the other side, and you're not going to close distance and finish ball games, you know, giving up chunk plays and turning the ball over. And so, you know, that was a major component of it. From an injury perspective, Minka has a hamstring, wasn't able to return. Kenny had a rib injury, wasn't able to return. Had some other bumps and bruises, but I think everybody else returned. Deontay returned. Dan Moore returned. We don't have a lot of time to absorb the result of this. We got a short week, and so we'll do so quickly and quickly turn our attentions and planning toward Tennessee. As unfortunate as the outcome of this game is, man, it is final, and we better turn our attention toward the next opportunity on the short week, and those are our intentions. Questions?
Kenny, Mike, any idea how bad Kenny's hurt, or he could go forward?
I don't have any understanding of that, no.
Mike, what was your at halftime? They said he was going to come back, and then he comes out and warms up, and then he doesn't.
I don't know who they was. I didn't say that.
Mike, on the long score, were you out leveraged on that side? What happened?
He had a miscommunication.
Kenny did come out and warm up. He was throwing on the sideline in the second half. Did he report additional pain that made him unable to go?
Him warming up is not reflective of intentions.
Mike, what led to those first half struggles offensively?
You know, we missed a big play down the middle early. We missed another, corner route early. We just got to execute better at the early portions of football games, obviously.
Mike, how much do those early 3-and-outs set a tone, including having your defense?
The early portions of the game doesn't decide the outcome. It doesn't. It usually doesn't. It didn't today. Obviously, you want more fluid starts, but it didn't determine the outcome of the game. As I mentioned, I thought the critical things were the things that transpired in the second half, the long score, the turnover, things you can't do as you're leaning in on the last portion of a football game.
Mike, losing Minka, how much did that affect what you guys were able to do defensively or not?
It didn't schematically. Obviously, he's a quality player, but I don't know that it reduced us schematically in any way.
Coach, do you think that if Mitch exhibits just a little bit more patience, maybe on the turnover, because he had some people that were open short, that may have resulted in a different outcome?
You know, I might have a different perspective after I review it, but, it wasn't the case, as it unfolded.
Mike, what did they tell you on the offsides call, and what was the impact of losing those 3 points?
I didn't get a lot of dialogue. I hadn't seen that called in 17 years of standing on sidelines. offsides, aligned offsides on a guard on a field goal protection. And so, you know, it didn't matter what they said. I've never seen that.
Anyone else?
What about why you needed to use the timeout on the when Kenny got hurt, the 10-second runoff? Did you get an explanation of that?
It's an injury. It's injury within 2 minutes.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's one of the things we wanted to talk about. You heard Mike Tomlin talk about the call that denied them 3. Boswell just hit one from 56 yards. You thought it was going to be 9-6 at halftime. Instead, they wipe it off and say the guard is lining up offside, which Mike Pereira did take to Twitter. He works at Fox, and he is the Gene's territory of their network, and he pretty much said that should not have been called. It's called in regular play, but not for field goals.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me, right? Sam Allo, that's who it was, the right guard, had his helmet in the neutral zone. That's what they called, right, offsides. But the reality is, Mike Pereira said, hey, that's only called on a tush push. It's not called on anything else. Well, to me, if your helmet's in the neutral zone, your helmet's in the neutral zone. It's an infraction. So maybe that's the discrepancy. That's the problem here, is that there's a lot of confusion on when that's supposed to be called. But my mind is black and white, Bob. Your head's in the neutral zone, it's a flag. If it's not, it's not a flag.
All right, so let me ask you this now. Again, this is something we've been talking about a lot. We've seen fourth quarter. Last 2 weeks, Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter, specifically the offense in the fourth quarter has been dynamic. The defense hasn't given up anything. They've been able to dig out from deficits. Yet, every week, it's the same old starting point, which is not much offense at all. And I got to say, I mean, when does that change? What has to happen for it to change, Chris? Because it's too repetitive. It's every single week.
Well, it would be nice if you could explain one person and say, this is the reason why they have slow starts. But one week, it's the offensive linemen are slow, starting slow, can't protect Kenny. The next week, it's Kenny missing guys, and he did that again this game. But I go to that first drive. There would have been opportunities for probably a field goal if he would have hit Deontay Johnson and Deontay would have brought the ball in. It was a great throw. Deontay Johnson missed it. Then on third down, again, another nice throw for a first down. He dropped it again. So to me, it's Deontay Johnson here. Then the next series, Kenny misses a throw and he misses guys that are open. It's just kind of one of these things where you can't pinpoint exactly why, but it's the whole unit that needs to come together and be more consistent in the first quarter.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd like to see more of, targets to George Pickens. Today, Deontay Johnson, I think, had 14 targets. That's fine, except George Pickens should get more. Every time you throw the ball in his direction, he made that beautiful catch on the sideline, which he didn't get his second foot down, but it was close. They had to do a challenge on that. Pickens took a little bit too long to get to the line of scrimmage. I thought I agreed with the announcers there on that one. But anyway, down the middle, he doesn't drop anything. He's Mr. really secure hands. Yeah. Why not target
here's
him
the thing.
more?
We got to go back and look at the film, Bob. We got to look and see what were they doing to try to take George Pickens out of the game. But the reality is when Kenny started getting going late in the second quarter, it was the second to last drive in the second quarter, when he started to move the ball in chunks. Who was he going to? 8, 9, 10-yard outs to Deontay Johnson. 8, 9, 10-yard out to Deontay Johnson. Those were happening to move the chains and get them going in a flow, and that's why they went down and scored a field goal. You got to get 7 there, but they scored a field goal. Then, before he got hurt, he was, again, going to Deontay. So I think whether they should complement each other, but when they're trying to eliminate him from the game, Deontay's getting open. He runs crisp routes. Good timing between him and Kenny, and you saw it there too in that quarter where they went down and scored that touchdown. Mitch Trubisky again going to Deontay Johnson for 10-yard chunk, 10-yard, 11-yard chunk, boom, boom, boom down the field. They go down and score a touchdown.
Well, for the record, 1 catch today for George Pickens. That was it. It was a 22-yard touchdown gallop into the end zone, but that was it. On the other hand, Johnson targeted 14 times. He had 8 catches for 85 yards. When we come back, you're going to hear from some of the defensive guys on this play. They did their best to keep it in the game. T.J. Watt had a sack, gives him now 9 on the year. We'll talk about that and hear from him coming up as we continue here with the Ford Extra Point Show. It's on KDKA Plus. 20-10 is your final score. Jacksonville improves to 5 wins in a row. They're 6-2 in the AFC. The Steelers dropped to 4-3.
Welcome back to the neighborhood Ford store Steelers Extra Point.
All right, welcome back. We continue with the Extra Point here. Bob Pompeani, Chris Hoke over here. Rich Walsh is in the locker room. You're going to hear some interviews coming up here shortly. Steelers, you see it quarter by quarter. Lose today 20-10, your final score. Jaylen Warren on the day. Not much in the rushing department again. He led the way with 19 yards. Najee Harris had 13, averaging 1.9. And they didn't get much in that department as well. Let's talk about the scoring summary. Brandon McManus had a 50, a 51-yarder, later a 38, and a 37-yarder. He was perfect today. Boswell finally missed one, but it was basically because of that call that no one understood. He hit a 56-yard and missed the 61-yarder that followed. The big key here was Trevor Lawrence, 56 yards to Travis Etienne. On some confusion, Mike Tomlin called it a miscommunication between Joey Porter and DeMonte Casey. Whatever the case, they ended up losing that play big time, 56 yards in the end zone, and that's a deficit they could not overcome. Jaylen Warren in the locker room after the game. This is what he had to say about his day at the office and the Steelers' loss.
It's next man up, so, you know, can't focus on those variables.
What do you think was the biggest difference today? Was it possession downs? Was it just them getting up front early and you guys having to play catch-up again? Like, what do you think was potentially the biggest difference in this game?
Difference for what?
Just in the outcome. You know, what allowed them to win?
I mean, it could be a lot of things. Just gotta look at the film and see what it is.
Is there anything encouraging you take away from this game? Just again, in the second half, it seems like you guys were able to do some more things offensively.
Yeah, I think we just need to keep fighting.
Jaylen, kind of similar story all year. Why do you guys get off to such a slow start, you think? What do you think it is? Can you put your finger on it?
Honestly, I don't even have an answer for that. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about it.
It's a little frustrating that you guys can't, that you couldn't get in the end zone more than once today.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, at times, you know, we're moving the ball and all that, but, you know, it's unfortunate that sometimes we don't come out with the 7 points we need. It is what it is.
Short turnaround. How do you guys put this behind you real quick?
Put it behind us right now. Just realize the game is over and we just got to move on to the next one.
Thanks.
All right, that's Jaylen Warren. Right now, Mitch Trubisky is speaking live over at Acrisure Stadium. Let's take you there.
It's an offense.
What happened on the interception when you're down 7?
Yeah, forced the throw on my part, trying to make a play downfield. They were playing a lot of 2 second half. Us playing behind, we need to push the ball downfield a little bit, clouding the George a lot. That one was invert. I was trying to get the ball to A-Rob. It was a force, good play by them, so that's on me. I got to be better. Just take what they give me, especially with us only being down 7 at that point. I should have probably checked it down and hopefully move on from there.
When the offense has been struggling,
triple coverage on that interception. Triple coverage, yeah.
Desire maybe to try to get things back quickly. Could that have been the case?
Forcing a throw, absolutely. I mean, I got to be smarter. I mean, I'm out there trying to win the game, right? So we're not just trying to run the ball or check it down every time. That was a force on my part, but I wanted to come in and try to make plays for this offense. Maybe on that instance was doing too much, and that's where you get in trouble. But I wanted to push the ball downfield, and that was the wrong thing to do on that play. So. Got to learn from it.
Mitch, as a whole, why has the offense been so inconsistent?
Execution. We just got to be better executing our plays, getting everybody on the same page, and staying balanced as an offense.
How tough is it to kind of put this game away and get ready for Thursday, especially knowing that Kenny's status is a little bit up in the air right now?
Yeah, just got to prepare on a short week. That's the job. So we play on Thursday. Sometimes that's a positive thing because you get to flush this game quickly, get that taste out of our mouth, and just get back to the game on Thursday. So we got to flush it, and everybody's got to prepare and get ready to go for Thursday night.
Mitch, you guys have hung around in some games and won with like some late drives. Is today's game an example of like why that's not always a sustainable blueprint?
Yeah, I don't know, because we were down by 2 scores late in the fourth quarter, so maybe if I don't turn the ball over, it's a little closer. Defense played really well again. We just got to be more consistent on offense and just continue to go out there, execute, and make plays. So we had one good drive where we went down and scored. It's got to be more consistent than that, and we got to pull together and flush this one and go get one on a short week.
Did you watch Kenny at all? And when you tried to warm up, were you talking about? Was it clear to you?
I'm sorry?
Were you watching Kenny at all or talking to him, communicating with him? Was it clear to you that he just wasn't going to be able to do it?
Yeah, I mean, Kenny knows his body better than anybody, so he tried to go out there and throw. And if he didn't feel like he was 100%, he shouldn't put himself in that position. And same with all the trainers and coaches. So I feel like they made the right choice by protecting him and him protecting himself. So hopefully he's okay, and we'll see where he's at.
Still in the game at the end of the first half when there were a lot of different officiating calls. Seemed like maybe there was some inconsistency. How much confusion were some of those calls causing? I mean, what were some of the discussions you guys were having?
Yeah, for me, I'm just focused on like whether I was going in or not, and I'm not really too concerned with the officiating. For me, it's like us just executing, guys being on the same page, and no matter if the call was for us or against us, we got to be on the same page of what the down and distance is, so we don't have confusion and communication on our part. So I think that's something we can get better at, just communicating where we're at. on the field, down in distance, and getting the right guys in the huddle so we could operate faster.
You had the one touchdown pass to George, but what were they doing to take Pickens away from you guys offensively?
Yeah, they were just playing cover 2 to his side, clouding him, taking away the downfield stuff. So we got to figure out ways to continue to get him the ball. And on that instance, they blitzed to that side, and he had a one-on-one matchup. He won on a slant and made an incredible play, jumping over that safety and getting in the end zone. So that's the type of player he is, and we know that. We got to find ways to get him the ball within this offense, but also staying balanced and leaning on this run game and those guys up front.
All right, here's Mitch Trubisky's day. If you're looking at passing-wise, 15 of 27, 138, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. However, a lot of those yards came late in the game when this was pretty well decided, and they were just given whatever underneath stuff, and he took it. Sometimes I wonder about that late in the game. Why not just take shots down the field? There could be pass interference. There could be a lot of stuff. The dinking and dunking, you knew, was just kind of beating your head.
That was low-hanging fruit, right? They were giving the Steelers those dinking and dunking.
You don't always have to take it, do you?
No, but if you throw it up, it's a chance for an interception. But at that
10.
point, right, you're trying to get the ball down the field to get yourself in a position. Maybe you can throw it down deep. Different strategies, right? I agree with you that you could throw it down the field, but they got everybody deep. They're giving you the underneath route. 10 yards, 15 yards, 10 yards, you put yourself in a position to throw the ball in the end zone. I think, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, that's pretty much true at that point. They didn't have much they can do because of the way things were going. And once the other thing is Jacksonville's a ball-hawking team. They could have had 2 more interceptions that were dropped today, so they lead the NFL in turnovers. We'll take a break here. We have more post-game reaction coming up from the locker room. Steelers have a short turnaround, and they're going to take on a team that won today and has a new quarterback. And boy, was he good. We'll talk about that. A little later, we'll also take your calls on a special Steelers edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Steelers lose 20-10. They drop to 4-3. We'll also update you with some of the other games going around the NFL, specifically the AFC North. All yet to come on your neighborhood Ford store, Extra Point.
Welcome back to the neighborhood Ford store, Steelers Extra Point.
Bob Pompeani, Chris Hoke with you following a Steelers loss today at home. And these are the kind of games you really want to win, considering that Jacksonville is going to be one of those teams in the AFC come playoff time, most likely. And now the tiebreaker goes to them. Time for our JP Roofing stats, final stats of the day. And we'll break this down. And Chris, you can take a look at some of these numbers and tell us what you think here. But the big one that's really not listed here is third down conversions, and the Steelers did not do a good job on those big third down plays.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Right now, the Steelers offensively only convert on 25%. You're not going to win a lot of ball games when you only convert in 3 out of 12 third downs. And then look at on the flip side, the Jaguars, they converted 46%. But what stands out to me here, Bob, is really the time of possession, again, because of third downs, almost 10-minute difference. That is a big margin in a game like this when it's good on good.
And that's what happened last week in the second half, specifically the fourth quarter. The Steelers were winning those downs, and when you win those downs, you extend drives, you get the running backs more involved, everything becomes better. When you don't, you've got to punt the ball away, and a team like Jacksonville will make you pay for that. And Joey Porter Jr. Played a lot today. His snap total has increased week by week, deservedly so. He was on the field for that big 56-yard touchdown to Travis Etienne. This is what he had to say in the locker room. Rich Walsh was there.
We got to just keep moving.
What did you see specifically on the long touchdown to the running back?
Nothing really, just bad eyes. Not thinking he'll be running a fade. Just got to trust my technique and keep playing.
Looked like you pulled up on that a little bit. You expecting a shorter route?
Yeah, just got to have better eyes.
Joey, how do you guys quickly turn the page here knowing you have Thursday night coming up?
We just got to forget about it and keep moving on. We got a game Thursday, so this game happened. We're going to learn from it quick, and we just got to keep moving on.
What do you take away from it initially, obviously not watching the film quite yet?
It was a hard-fought game. Defense played pretty good. We had 3 turnovers, but we just got to finish, and that's all that is to it.
So you had a couple guys out on defense. How much did that change things for you guys?
Changed a little bit, but we always got that next man up mentality. Once one man go down, the other man got to step up and make his opportunity. And I feel like the guys that did that well today.
All right, that's Joey Porter Jr., and again, he was on the field for that miscommunication, whether it was his assignment to follow Etienne. He went inside, KZ came up, and he took too much of an angle there. Next thing you know, he's 56 yards behind. And it was interesting because that play happened only after a matter of an inch. When George Pickens made what looked like a catch, it was called a catch on the field. Jacksonville challenged, and they won the challenge. That forced a 4th and 7. They punted the ball away, and then boom, that play happens. That's how how things can change in a hurry in the
so
NFL.
quickly, right? It was a one-score game,
Right.
and if Steelers would have scored a touchdown, they'd be up by 1. Now it goes to a 2-score game. They went in and scored a 2-point conversion as well, 17-3, really put the game out of reach for the Steelers, and that's a difficult one. When you don't know what really happened, KZ took a sharp angle coming underneath. It looked like Joey may have been biting the cheese, if you will, on the underneath route. Who knows who's supposed to be where? It was a miscommunication. But at the end of the day, it was a defensive loss, a team loss, because that was one big play in it.
Well, you know we're on a Steelers Sunday where we're biting the cheese and chopping the wood. We're doing all that right here on our postgame
That's an
show.
old football phrase, right? Coach
I love when
Butler
you give us that chopping the wood. Anyway, let's take a look at the leading tacklers. And this is where you miss Minkah Fitzpatrick because, you know, last week in L.A., I thought he was very noticeable on just about every play. Cole Holcomb played a very good game today. He led the list. And you see, again, a lot of safeties involved, then Landon Roberts. You don't see much for the defensive line. This is one of the issues, I think, without Cam Hayward in there. And these teams are putting up big rushing totals. Again, another team went over 100 yards rushing against the Steelers, and now they have the thought of doing it against Derrick Henry, who came in and ran for over 100 yards today in Tennessee's.
And I was very critical of Cole Holcomb early in the year, right? I didn't think he was playing well, but I think he's hitting his stride, playing really, really well, knows where he fits in this defense. And when you look at the run defense, they play well in certain plays, but then instead of giving up a 4-yard run or a 5-yard run, they give up an 8-yard run, then a 10-yard run, then an 11-yard run, and then come back to a no gain. And so they're hitting big chunks of runs, which hurts the defense, moves the chains. And it's not because guys are getting pushed around now. It's guys that sometimes a linebacker takes the inside instead of fighting over the top, or a defensive lineman gets behind the block. It's little things that if they just get a little more, a little tighter in how they run this defense and execute a little bit better, they'll be much better against the run. I believe, Bob, that they're getting there and they're on the move.
Yeah, the other thing is you're worried about that as inside linebackers, but also trying to cover some of these elite tight ends. And today, Evan Ingram targeted 10 times, all 10 receptions. He was real big. He made a big 34-yard reception later in the game, and it was a place I think Keanu Neal did not close enough and was beaten on that play, and he turned it into something very big. So, you know, again, you got tight ends every week you got to deal with, and those inside linebackers got to.
It was Keanu Neal, it was Demonte Casey, it was those two guys, those safeties. It seemed like they had man coverage, but they were way off, and he'd run some kind of cross pattern, or he'd do a quick comeback and then take the ball across the middle, and they were too far off, make a play. And Evan Ingram runs like a receiver. Right, I think he's really fast, as you saw in this game. And so when you have a guy like that and you're man-to-man, you've got to get up on him and combat those catches.
T.J. Watt had another sack that gives him 9. He needed to keep pace because Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, had 2 more for Jacksonville today. This is what T.J. Watt had to say after the game.
Continue to move the chains, and I think it was pretty obvious we had a problem stopping it.
Mike said that nothing schematically was different without Minkah in there, but what is the effect of losing him so early in the game?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose an all-pro player, a guy who is a leader in the back end, a leader of the defense, it's a big blow, but it's one that we have to be able to manage, whether it's with one guy, whether it's with 2 or 3 guys, but we always preach the next man up mentality, and everybody's in the meetings, everybody's at practice, so it's all about the next man and what he's able to do and fill in that spot.
Any idea what happened on the long touchdown? Anything from your vantage point? Was there a breakdown?
I don't know. I have to watch the film before I give any breakdown.
Did you guys think coming into it that Ingram was going to be a big part of their game plan, or maybe was that just them taking advantage of where you guys were?
I mean, we knew he was a great pass catcher. I mean, we respected him coming into the game, but weren't able to stop him today.
Still a level of frustration with when calls are happening and things that are maybe outside of your control, especially when the defense kind of does its job. How do you deal with that, and how do you move forward from that?
Continue to try to do my job, and the job is to go out there and play solid defense, try to deliver the ball, try to get off the field as quickly as possible, try to flip field position, and don't have time to look around and point blame. None of us are playing the way that we should right now.
How difficult is it to absorb and kind of move on from a loss like this on a short week?
I mean, there's no time to sit and sulk. We have a game on Thursday, so that's part of the beauty of the NFL, and we have to move past it, but at the same time, we also can't just can it. We have to look at the film and learn from it.
Anything else?
Thanks.
Yeah, they got to do that on short order. You can see 2 tackles today, but, you know, his thing is they gave him a .5 sack. You know, he was there, but Landon Roberts was also there. I think is the one we're talking about. But I thought he should have been credited with 2 half sacks, which would have been 1. But regardless, tackle for loss. He's so quick off the ball. But again, the run game is the biggest concern for me. I think if you look at it, when you run the ball and have a lot of success, and Travis Etienne, he had 1 big run called back. Otherwise, he would have himself been over 100 yards. You got to stop that first and foremost. And when teams come into here, like a Derrick Henry this week, that's what they're going to try to do since they know everybody else is doing it.
Exactly. Like you said, over 100 yards. They're going to try to pound the football against the Steelers defense. And it's 1 play here, 1 play there. They're getting better, but it's not where they need to be to consistently stop the run. They're going to hang out at the bottom of the NFL in terms of run defense. And what they're doing right now is T.J. Watt's not getting a lot of tackles. Neither is Alex Highsmith. They make their plays because T.J.'s a playmaker and he's a game changer. But throughout the game, he's having a tough time getting tackles in the run game because they're finding ways to get 2 hats on him, to run away from him, uses aggression against him, which is making it difficult for him to have an impact in the run game.
All right, the linebackers, you saw that Cole Holcomb had a very good day, productive day. There were turnovers involved. Landon Roberts was very noticeable early. Let's hear what he had to say in the locker room after the game.
You're going to look at it as being frustrated because we're all competitors. We practice hard each week. We come in a game, and obviously you want to win it, you know. But this one right here, man, we got a Thursday night game. We got a quick turnaround. You just got to tip your hats off to Jacksonville. You know, we got to look at this film. We got to correct it quickly, and we got to move on to Tennessee. You know, we got another good opponent coming in here Thursday night.
That's tough to do after a loss like this. I mean, you only got a couple days to kind of get back to it.
I mean, we pros. This is an emotional league, but if you wear your emotions on your shoulder, you're going to have a long season. You know, you got to move on, man. And with moving on, you have to watch the film to get clarity and adjust and turn the page quickly because you have a Thursday night game. And this is what this league is about. You know, sometimes you have quick turnarounds, and it is what it is.
Hey, Landon, any thoughts on Keanu Neal's roughing the passer penalty and the one not called on Kennedy that hurt Kennedy?
I didn't see it. Neither one of them. Sorry.
Now, he talks about short turnaround. You've been in there in that situation. Yeah. Now, to me, this is a dangerous game because it's a team that's a physical game, Tennessee. They want to pound the football. You know, they got a rookie quarterback. You know, I know that should help the Steelers defensively because they're going to game plan for him if it's Will Levis, and he played well today with 4 touchdown passes. But what do you have to do? And is it a disadvantage to play a physical team like this as opposed to somebody who's throwing the ball all over?
No, I think really it's easier to play against a team that's going to run the ball because you know what you're going to go against. If you're playing against a team that likes to throw the ball on really complex pass routes and shifts and motions, kind of like a Niners team, it's much more difficult to prepare. But this is more of a mental week and a recovery week for the Steelers than a physical week because they've got some guys banged up, and I know there's more than just Kenny Pickett and Minkah Fitzpatrick. There were guys that were coming off that were getting banged up in this game. So there's going to be some serious focus and emphasis on these guys getting in the cold tub, getting massages, getting whatever they got to do to be able to play Thursday. But here's the thing, Bob. The Tennessee Titans played in a physical game too. It was a close game. I think it was a 1-score game. So they're both going to come in physical. Tennessee has to go on the road, so they have to leave a day earlier. So the Steelers should have an advantage in this game. It's a matter of what they do with it Thursday night. But
it looks like, at least for now, until we hear officially this week, but Minkah Fitzpatrick, I would not expect him to play after that. He was ruled out of this game, didn't come back.
Looked bad.
Looks like a hamstring.
Yeah, hamstrings are pretty bad. You know, look how long Deontay was out.
Exactly.
Right? And
well,
then
look at Freiermuth, too. He's another one.
Freiermuth, he's out. But Minkah, I mean, he went down and he held his hamstring. It didn't look like something, maybe it was a little tweak. It looked like he pulled it pretty good. I'm just speculating there. Who knows? But it looked to me, and I think looked to everybody that was watching, that it was pretty serious.
So that puts pressure on guys like DeMonte KZ and Keanu Neal, who got beaten for that big gainer by Evan Ingram. Let's hear what he had to say afterwards.
To the house, we got to get after him. You know, we got an opportunity to turn the page and really, you know, get back on the winning track. So we plan to do that.
You know, I know you've asked this already, but how can you actually stop yourself from, I mean, I know it's forward progress almost, right? From going after the quarterback. I mean, there's really nothing that you could do in a situation like that, it seems like.
You kind of can't. I mean, you must try to hurt yourself if you do. I think, you know, on that play, I was in a position to wrap him up and get him to the ground. Didn't really see the ball thrown, but the penalty was called. It's not much you can do about it. But yeah, it does get difficult in that position when you're so close to the quarterback.
walking away, you didn't think a flag was even thrown, did you? It seemed like it from.
I didn't. I just, when I looked up, I saw the ball was thrown, but I didn't think a flag was thrown.
Oh no! How frustrating was a loss like this for you guys? I mean, you guys had a momentum coming into this game.
It is frustrating. It's frustrating losing, period. But it's an AFC team. We had momentum coming into it. We had an opportunity, and we didn't win. We didn't get the dub. It's unfortunate. It sucks, but we kind of got to learn from it and press on. Got a short week. Got Tennessee coming in, so yeah, we just got to learn from it and make sure the stuff that we did in this game that wasn't good doesn't happen again.
Short week help you guys maybe put this one behind you.
I would say so. I mean, you just watch the film. It's on to the next mentality.
All right, so let's talk about that play again. For those of you who just joined us, they're out to protect the quarterback. I get it. But that was something, to me, that was as textbook of a play as you can make by Keanu Neal. He got penalized for it. That added on to a 29-yard completion, which made it a 45-yard play, and really a killer play. So, I mean, what do? I see Kirk Cousins went out with an Achilles, so that's a big loss if it is for Minnesota. They're trying. But what do it's officially torn, so he is going to be done for the season then. And that pretty much ends Minnesota's chances if they weren't ended already. So I don't know where they go with this. I know.
I think I would love to see a replay here because what it is, it's completely subjective. I mean, a guy looks at it, and I look at it, Bob, and think, oh, that's a guy driving a quarterback into the ground. And then you look at it, and you see it completely different. And that's what they do with referees. One referee sees it differently than the other referee, and it's just an inconsistent call that can really hurt a team. I understand where the NFL is coming from. They're trying to protect these quarterbacks. So, one, Trevor Lawrence didn't get hurt. Kenny Pickett did. A defensive lineman drove Kenny Pickett into the ground versus a safety. I also look at earlier in the game, the Jaguars can have a complaint too, Bob. When T.J. Watt swatted the ball that was a screen and he smacked Trevor Lawrence in the face mask, which is typically called, right? Again, subjective. One referee would have thrown a flag on that, then another wouldn't. These things, they're inconsistent, and they've either got to be corrected, either with some kind of replay, or they've got to eliminate the call altogether.
But here's what I disagree with you. You said drove him into the ground. He did not drive him into the ground. He finished his tackle. He didn't know where the ball was.
I'm not saying I did, but I think you did.
Well, then you should, then just don't touch the quarterback.
But it's all, yeah.
What are you going to do? If it's going to be like this, what are you going to do? Just call it once in a while and then
that's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, then
that's
how do you
the problem
solve
in the NFL. That's what I'm saying. You've got to have instant replay or something where New York can see it and they can look at it objectively, not play after play. They can look at this thing and say, okay, was it driven into the ground? Did he try to lay off? And you see it all the time, even with big hits on the back end of the defense, when a guy comes in with his shoulder and it's a boom, boom play and they throw a flag and they call it illegal hit or whatever they want to call it, when it was really a shoulder, they've got to find a way to be able to review this quickly so that they can, fix the problem. Because right now, it's a big problem. It's very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent for sure. And that play was critical in what happened in this game today. So we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, as the weeks go on. Whether or not there'll be a change, who knows? But there were a lot of penalties in this game. Alex Highsmith, he put some pressure on today, but again, they do a pretty good job of keeping away from these edge rushers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's hear what number 56 had to say after the game.
Guys, turn the page here and move forward quickly, knowing you got Tennessee short.
Yeah, I think, just analyze this one quickly. We got to put it behind us because we know we got a game in 4 days and another game at home and another AFC opponent. So we just know we got to be better. We got to make more plays, and we just got to, move on from this one and, get better for the next one.
What do you take away from a game like this? Obviously, every time you're out on the field, you have the chance to improve by playing. So what are the positives when you look at this game?
I mean, getting turnovers, but, we can't let them, get that field position. We just got to, get off the field quicker. I think there's too many times where we had them, there were some in third downs and we didn't get off the field. So we just got to get off, when we have them, in third downs and stuff like that. And we just got to continue to get the ball out and just, just be better, at just getting off the field quicker and stuff.
You're in a position to say anything negative against the officiating, but on plays like Keanu Neal's, how do you even stop yourself from when you're in midair tackling someone?
Nowadays, you just got to go for the ball. I mean, it's tough, It's the wrong call, because I think he, didn't put his body weight on him. But, we just got to control. We can control what they call it. They call it, and we just got to, move on to the next down.
You guys had a little bit of momentum, but you have a short week here. Is it easy to put a game like this behind you, maybe?
I mean, when you're in a close game like this and you don't win, we just gotta analyze it and get better from it. We do have to put it behind us because we know that we have a big game coming up this week. So we just got to be able to get after this one. It's another AFC opponent, so we got to get back on the win track.
I know one of the positives, you guys are big on making splash plays. You had 3 turnovers today. I mean, that's important to keep doing something like that.
Yeah, we just got to continue to do that. But I think we can still get off the field quicker and like you said, and just get off the field quicker and get some 3-and-outs and stuff like that. We need to get more of those, but we know that we're just going to continue to pride ourselves on getting turnovers and get the ball out.
Controlling what you can control. Just how frustrating is it though when it seems like there are multiple of those types of calls in a game? Like I'm not trying to put you in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just. Once again, I think just, control we can't control, what's called, and we just got to control how we go out and play and how we respond to whatever is called. And so we just got to go out and, just go out and play.
All right, so what happened today? Well, there was a tackle for loss. It was later in the game for Highsmith. 4 total tackles. Again, you got a half sack in there, but I think these offensive coordinators know those guys are coming after you, and they're trying to scheme away from them. 1 quarterback hit. That was it. By the way, I also want to remind you that we are under NFL restrictions. If you're wondering why we cannot show you replays, it's because we are not allowed to do so. That's just rules handed down by the NFL. But you need, want more production from everyone, especially those guys. That's what they do. And they're going to have to deal with the fact that these teams are trying to get away from both Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt.
There's absolutely, and teams are figuring out how to, protect from them and impacting the game. Now, last week, TJ Watt just made an unbelievable play, a superhuman play with that interception that led to a score. But you want to see more production out of these guys. Really, today, only 6 QB hits on Trevor Lawrence with 32 passes. 2 of those came from one from TJ Watt, 1 from Alex Highsmith. You need to see more of an impact on the game from these 2, not just 1 sack here and 1.5 sack there. Alex Highsmith had his tackle for a loss late in the ball game, and when the game in the first quarter, when the game in the third quarter, when the game is being decided and it's unfolding, we need these 2 Pro Bowl players and impact players, game changers, to have more of an impact when the game's on the line.
Of course, it would make it a lot easier if the offense would do more scoring early in the game because all these plays are magnified when you don't score a lot of points. And again, today, 10 points, that's not going to get it done, which led me to ask you earlier about the quarterback situation. Again, I'm just going to tell you because you've been saying that Mason Rudolph you think deserves a chance. So if Kenny cannot play, what would you do? You know what we have with Mitch. I think I know what they're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you go to Mason?
I've been very vocal about it on the radio on here about who I think they should go with. I think Mason Rudolph's a good quarterback. For some reason, they're not playing him. But the quarterback's going to be Mitch Trubisky, so we don't need to waste time on what I think. The reality is that Mitch Trubisky's got to get his head in that play and get himself ready to play. He knows the playbook, but get himself ready to play and go out there and throw some touchdowns, not throw 2 interceptions in this game, and be able to move the chains and get some points on the board. Because right now, 10 points is not going to cut it. When the Steelers score over 17 points, they're 4-0. When they don't score over 17 points, they lose. And so they just got to hit that threshold and put points on the board, and they're not doing it consistently right now.
All right, you see the quarterback comparison there. Again, a lot of the Trubisky yards came late in the game when the Steelers trailed by 10 points. When we come back, we have more reaction, and then shortly, we're going to take a trip around the NFL, talk about some of the games going on that impact the Steelers, and your calls are also coming up at 412-575-2600. We continue right here on KDKA Plus. It's your neighborhood Ford store, Extra Point.
Welcome back to the neighborhood Ford store, Steelers Extra Point.
All right, welcome back. We continue right here. Steelers at Acrisure today go down 20-10. Have a big game coming up on Thursday against Tennessee, another AFC opponent. Let's take a look at scores from around the NFL. You will see the Titans won today, 28-23, and the big story there, Will Levis in his NFL debut threw the ball all over the place, down the field. 3 of his 4 touchdowns went to DeAndre Hopkins. Keep in mind the NFL trade deadline is coming up. Hopkins has been mentioned. Derrick Henry has been mentioned, although the Titans said they're not going to trade him. I wonder just what's going to happen here and how it will impact Thursday night. The Dolphins win again. When they win at home, they win in blowout fashion. They win by 14 over the Patriots. Vikings lose Kirk Cousins for the season with a torn Achilles. 24-10, they beat the Packers, who will be here in 2 weeks. And the Saints over the Colts today. And Indianapolis had the lead in that game. And then just some updated things from around the AFC North. Right now, Cincinnati's in San Francisco, and they lead that game 14-7. They set a franchise record for most first downs in the first quarter of a game. 11 Cincinnati had in the first quarter of this game today.
That was more than half of the Steelers had in the whole game.
Seattle 17-7. They lead Cleveland, so the Browns may go down, and the Ravens are involved with Arizona at 7-7. Connor Hayward got in the game today. Didn't make that much of an impact, but he spoke after the game. Let's hear what he had to say.
That in a 17-game season?
Yeah, it definitely sucks losing. You know, a game like that, so close. You know, we make that field goal counts, and it's just little things like that. And then it's a different game, and we play Thursday, so we just gotta go in there tomorrow, lock in, get our feedback from that game, and get ready for this next Thursday night game.
What do you think was maybe the biggest difference between the two teams? Was it maybe possession downs, or was it just the fact, again, that they got up front early and kind of put you guys in catch-up mode?
Yeah, they just won. No other way to put it. Not going to make an excuse. They just beat us, and we got to learn from this and get better, get in the lab tomorrow, and, go out here Thursday with some energy. And, it's definitely a game. We won an AFC game, but Tennessee's coming, another AFC game, and we got to do the most with that.
Connor, can you put your finger on the inability of getting the offense going early on in games?
Yeah, we definitely want to go out there on a fast start. I think we had some really good play calls for that. We didn't make the most of it, and that's all it was. We, on the Thursday, and we got to come out, and try to start fast, because when you start fast, it gets the team on their heels, and that's something that we always talk about, something we harp on, and we'll bounce back.
How frustrating has it been, though? It's kind of been the same story. It's been really repetitive with you guys.
Yeah, it's frustrating losing, but you got to see the big picture. It's a long season. You can't get, up and down. You can't get too high, can't get too low. But, hats to them, and we'll come out, with a good game plan and trying to go out here and get the win this Thursday.
It'll be tough to put this behind you a couple days here.
No. Obviously, it sucks today, but tomorrow we'll, watch the film, and then after that you have to move on. It's NFL. It's not college. You don't have to win every game to go to, the Super Bowl. So it's just the best team playing, in the playoffs. But obviously we got to get to the playoffs, and this was a big game for us, being AFC. But we have another AFC opponent coming in.
All right, yes, they do, and that would be Tennessee this Thursday, 8:15 at Acrisure Stadium. And then it's a home game against Green Bay, a team that's really struggling right now, and Jordan Love has regressed since the first month of the season. And then it really gets tough because you have two road games at the Browns and at the Bengals, the first of two meetings against Cincinnati. So, Chris, that's why these home games are very important. You want to build a little leeway in your record, so when you get to those AFC games in division, you have a little leeway. But right now, this loss was a big one for them.
It was a big loss, right? And you look at what's going on right now in these 4 o'clock games. When you look at the Ravens, you suspect they're going to pull out and win out there in Arizona with a one-win team in Arizona. And you look at the Browns, they're probably going to lose, right? And the Bengals are up 14-7 right now. So if you think that shakes out, the Steelers right now are going to be 2 games behind the Ravens if it plays out the way that you suspect. And then you got the Titans. That's an AFC game. Then you got the Packers. You got to win those 2 games because you're going to have to go on the road to the Browns and to the Bengals, who the Bengals look like they're picking up speed. The Steelers, these games are getting serious, and they've got to start putting some wins together again. Have to hold serve with everyone, or they'll fall behind real quick.
All right, just a reminder to your injuries today. Minkah Fitzpatrick left, did not return. Kenny Pickett left, did not return. Tomorrow on KDKA Plus at noon, it's the Mike Tomlin press conference. On a short week, we have a Monday instead of Tuesday. In the meantime, coming up is your phone calls, your opinions about what you've seen so far today and throughout the course of the season. It's 412-575-2600. Thank you for joining us for your neighborhood Ford store Extra Point following the Steelers' loss to Jacksonville. We have your reaction coming up next right here on KDKA Plus.